The Nintendo Switch 2 is finally here, and I already have fingerprints on it. Like, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but like, oh, there's like dust on it too. God, not even a joke. Shout out to my girlfriend Lisa, who was able to pre-order this back in April. We stayed up all night that night. I was trying to pre-order this on my computer. I was clearly having issues. She saw that, so she went on the Target website and just in a split second, she was able to get this, and I couldn't believe it. So thank you, babe. I love you so much, and I really enjoy playing Mario Kart World with you. Speaking of which, that's what this video is about. Mario Kart World. We're gonna be talking about this game. This is the latest iteration in the Mario Kart series. I love Mario Kart and was very excited to hear that this was gonna be the first Nintendo IP to be released on the Nintendo Switch 2. And there's a lot of controversy with this game, which is why I wanted to make a video to discuss this topic. So let's go ahead and get started with this video on Mario Kart World. So Mario Kart is one of my favorite cherished video games growing up. I remember playing Mario Kart Super Circuit on my red Game Boy Advance SP. That was my earliest memory of that game. And then I started playing other Mario games like Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube, Mario Kart on the Wii. Never got the Wii U, but then I obviously played Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch, which was, you know, a port from the Wii U and everything, and have been enjoying it since college. That was actually, I think, like my second game that I got on the Nintendo Switch. And I just have a lot of fond memories of playing this game with like my friends, whether they were over or we went to a video game bar. It's next to Super Smash Brothers. I think Mario Kart is such a beloved game that brings people together. And I think, honestly, it's probably one of the best Nintendo IPs out there, if not one of the best racing games ever created. And obviously a lot of fans were excited to see the first footage that was released with the first video revealing the Nintendo Switch 2 and revealing the fact that you can verse up to 24 players in one race. It was clear that they were going big with this new game in the Mario Kart franchise. And then the second Nintendo Direct was released, and we came to find out some price ranges that we really didn't understand. For starters, Mario Kart World was going to be $80 for the Nintendo Switch 2. That's crazy. And when Nintendo was approached as to, you know, why this game was going to be this amount, they really didn't have an answer. They just said like, oh, that was the price that we decided on. And we all came to like speculations as to, you know, what merited this price and everything. Was it just, you know, the amount of characters that you could play? Was it the open world aspect? Which we'll definitely get into because I have some thoughts on that. And what are my overall thoughts on this game? Honestly, I don't think we'd be having this conversation, this controversy on Mario Kart World if it wasn't for the fact that the game was $80. I truly believe that if it was at this $60 price range, it just released on the Switch 2, I don't really think anybody would say anything critical towards the game. I think they'd recognize, oh, we have a Mario Kart game on the Nintendo Switch 2, and we're happy that it's here. The only reason why we're talking about the game in a critical aspect is because it's this price range that's raising people's eyebrows and everything. What about this game merited this $80 price? We spent the entirety of this weekend actually playing the game. I recorded some gameplay footage to really kind of gain an understanding as to what was different about this game and the prior Mario Kart game. And there are some things that I really like. And then there are other things where I'm like, I kind of wish that they would have done that a little differently. But overall, if you didn't get a Nintendo Switch 2 in its first month, and you're debating on, oh, do I want to get it immediately to play this game? Am I missing out as a gamer? No, I don't think you are. I think you're totally fine with playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the original Nintendo Switch for a little bit, and then maybe waiting just to see if there is a window to buy a Nintendo Switch 2 right on time for Donkey Kong Bonanza. But overall, I really don't think that there's a huge amount of key things that really require the need to get Mario Kart World. There are some cool things. Number one is the 24 player aspect when racing. I think that was actually pretty challenging when we tried it with the multiplayer aspect. Overall, with the Grand Prix and everything, I don't really think it added much of a difference when versing CPUs because, you know, you as like an actual like player and everything, and if you've been playing Mario Kart for a long time, it's not really going to make much of a difference that they've added these key players because if you know how to properly play the game, you're going to find yourself probably in first, second, third, whatever place and everything. And it's just a matter of passing these CPUs. But when it comes to the actual multiplayer aspect where you're versing other players as well, it can get kind of tricky because you're versing 24 actual players and everything. And sometimes you can find yourself being bashed with a number of different weapons. Like shells and weaponry. And there's actually some really cool weapons in here as well that I really think really help with the game. Number one is a mushroom that changes your size and everything. I didn't get that a whole lot in my first playthrough of the game because obviously it's catered to people who are really far behind and everything. But once I played that in the multiplayer experience, I was like, oh, okay, great. I'm a giant Mario and stuff. There's also a feather that makes you jump up high. So like if you are wanting to maneuver over a character, you have that said feather. And if you have like a shell that's coming from behind you, you can use this feather to maneuver that as well. So there's a lot of like cool items in the game that like I think are going to become a staple later on for, you know, later iterations of Mario Kart. In terms of the maps are really good, actually. There's one map in particular at the end of the course. It's a robotic Donkey Kong that is throwing barrels at you, and you have to try to maneuver the barrels. And there's one map in particular that involves you going through like a ghost town, and you're put like into this old 1900s movie, and I just thought that was really cool with like all the ghosts interacting with you and everything. These are really good themed maps. I don't want to spoil a whole lot, but like if you complete all the courses, there is a surprise at the end of that, a very traditional Mario Kart level that is presented, and I just thought that was really well done in terms of the presentation of that. I will say though, as a negative, when the courses are as big as they are, because they implement some of the open world aspect into them, sometimes there's like this open land that you kind of have to trek through and everything, and you're going in like a straight line and stuff. And because you're not turning and everything, and you're not really building a charge to like boost your cart up and everything, sometimes it's really hard to get past something really fast because you're technically just going into a straight line. I found that like boosting your cart to jump builds up speed a little bit. I did think it was cool, however, where some of the courses in traditional Mario Kart games, you're just overlapping a specific course and you're redoing that lap over and over again. Whereas with some levels, you are going down a continuous course where the environment is changing. Like say you're going down like a mountain or something like that, and clearly like you're not looping because you're going down a mountain. There are laps that like are continuous and everything. Thought it was really cool. Like what they've done is new stuff, and it really sprinkles on what we love about Mario Kart, but like adds like a modern day rendition to it. There's also the opportunity to do some really cool tricks. You can actually grind on rails, which I thought that was pretty cool, and it actually benefits you as a racer because you're able to build up speed and everything. And you can even like grind on walls as well. So I was like, oh, that's like really cool. And it actually plays into the open world aspect as well. And I think this is where I'm going to start to be a little bit neutral towards the game. The open world aspect is not as appealing as I thought it was going to be. Actually, I never thought that the open world was going to be like the best thing about this game. If anything, I questioned it when I saw like the trailers and gameplay footage from the Nintendo Directs. I was just not really excited about the open world aspect. I mean, I thought it was cool that they were adding something besides the Grand Prix into this game, but there really just isn't anything that's eye-opening about this open world aspect to it. I think this is like catered to gamers who really want something more than just your regular Grand Prix for Mario Kart World. This is very much something extra. This is very minigame oriented. The problem is that this was really being marketed as something that was like this huge thing, and I think it was definitely something that Nintendo was trying to push to merit this $80 price, but unfortunately, I'm really not seeing it as like this whole other game. It's really just a way for you to do like these mini games and everything, and it really just doesn't merit anything past what we know of conventional Mario Kart. It's cool that it's there, and I'm really happy that they decided to do something different in terms of Mario Kart. But before initial gameplay of this title was like released and everything, there was all this talk that they were going to add some type of gimmick to really make it different from our last Mario Kart. And I was thinking in the realm of like Mario Kart Double Dash, where like you essentially had two characters on one cart, and you had like these different ways of like using items, and one character was driving and everything. I thought they were going to do something along those lines. This, in my opinion, just feels like the last Mario Kart that we played, but a little bit more polished, a little bit more updated. Clearly, like we have an updated Donkey Kong from Donkey Kong Bonanza in this game. And there's some things like the aura magical smoke from like Super Mario Wonder that's in this. So it's clearly like a Mario Kart game that is made specifically to cater to where the characters are at in this universe, like Mario from Mario Wonder, Donkey Kong from his new game coming out. In this open world aspect, there are these blue P buttons that we know from prior Mario games that are laid out throughout this entire map. And when you find one, you're presented this mini game that gives you the opportunity to beat it in a certain amount of time, and you gain a prize. And what is that prize? A sticker. A sticker that like you can only really see on certain vehicles that you pick. Like there are some vehicles that like if you apply a sticker, you don't even see the sticker. Barely even. There are some vehicles even where I questioned if there was a sticker on it even at all. Playing these mini games does not feel fulfilling. It's something that like if you're like a hardcore like player who really wants to gather all of like the achievements and trophies or whatever, it's something, but at the same time it's like you have no way of like, you know, showcasing all of these stickers on your cart. You can only show one sticker on a cart, and it would have been really cool if like you had collected all these stickers and you applied them all over your cart, like multiple different stickers and everything. But yeah, it's just one sticker, and sometimes you don't even notice it. One cool aspect of the open world is the idea that you can find food bags. And they have burgers, they have pizza, they have all this different food depending on the region that you're at. And if you are a character, say like Mario, and you find a food bag, you actually turn into a different variation of Mario. You get like a different costume. And this applies to a lot of the main characters that are in this game. Like if you find a certain food for Toadette, you actually get like a racing helmet and stuff like that. So at least there's that aspect of the open world, is finding all of these foods that are scattered across like the map and everything, and trying to find these costumes for these main characters. Speaking of these costumes, if we're gonna go into customization real quick, I don't think the customization is the best. In the prior Mario Kart, you could actually customize your kart to where you picked your kart, you picked the wheels and the glider and everything, and that affected your speed, acceleration, stuff like that. So there was a lot of customization with the other Mario Kart. In this one, there isn't really a whole lot of customization. You don't really change your wheels on your vehicle. Whatever vehicle that you get is the vehicle that you get. You can't really change the vehicle with the character that you have besides changing that small sticker that you get in the mini games. And when you look at the character select, especially when you have gathered all these costumes for this one particular character, it starts to pile up a little bit. Like if you get different costumes for Mario, all of a sudden your inventory is packed with like all these Mario variations and everything. I think it would have been super helpful if like you just picked Mario and then you picked like his different costume that you wanted, similar to like what you do in Super Smash Brothers. Like if you see Kirby and you wanted to pick like a different colored Kirby and everything, but everything is just kind of like laid out in this character select. And in terms of the extra characters that they've added to this character roster, I'm not really that impressed. There are the main characters that we have come to enjoy in prior Mario Kart games. The main characters, you know, like Mario, Luigi, Peach, Donkey Kong. All of these characters that they've added, clearly they needed extra characters for these 24 players to play as. You know, they needed like additional characters for you to pick and everything. It's just that they the cow is great. The cow is, I love the cow. He is an internet icon right now. I am happy that the cow is here, but they've added like other characters that like we really just don't really care about, like, you know, the Goombas from Mario, every given Mario villain that Mario kills in like his games and everything. I don't know, it just felt like a convenience thing for Nintendo just to like add these additional like non-playable characters and just having them there so that like 24 players have enough characters to pick. And I want to touch on that specifically at the end of this video, where I think they could have really utilized like a key thing that we have always wanted, I feel, in a Mario Kart game, but we'll get to that later. When it comes to a Nintendo Switch game, it's really hard to review sometimes, because not only are you reviewing obviously like a console that's connected to your TV, but you have to acknowledge the fact that like you're also talking about a handheld system and everything. And I feel like whenever I'm talking about the open world, I'm not recognizing the fact that this system is running this huge open world from a handheld perspective. And I think that's what Nintendo kind of uses the excuse of a lot of the times whenever they re-release like an updated game from like the Wii to a Nintendo Switch system. Like I'm going to use Donkey Kong Country, for example. A lot of people were very upset that that game was at a price range of $60, because this was a game from like many years ago. Like, I don't remember, like 2009, 2010, something like that. A Wii game, you know. Even I myself as a consumer was trying to figure out why they were trying to justify this game at this price range, and I was really reaching here, and I'm reaching now. And I assume that they were viewing this re-release of Donkey Kong Country Returns as like this new way of playing the game, this new experience on a handheld system and everything. I think that is how Nintendo kind of views like their justifications a lot of the times, is because they created like this open world aspect with all these mini games and everything, and you're playing it on a handheld system a lot of the times. In terms of a handheld perspective of this open world and the mini games and everything, I think it's great. I think it's cool that like you're in a car or you're on a plane or you're just traveling and maybe you're tired of like playing the Grand Prix of Mario Kart, or maybe you finished it and you're looking for something extra to do. And you go on the open world aspect and you're wanting to play these mini games and everything. I think from that perspective, I think it's really, really cool. But for a lot of gamers who stay at home and you have it plugged into the TV, it's just not really that fulfilling. And I don't really think it justifies like this $80 price range for this game. I think the main thing that Nintendo should have done, if you really wanted us to like pay this $80 price range, like the one thing that you could have done to at least, I don't know, justify it, but you know, to get the hardcore Nintendo players to like get this game at this price range, I think you should have gone the Super Smash Brothers route. Like, not only do you have like characters from the Mario universe in Mario Kart, I know it's called Mario Kart, but like you're eventually going to run out of ideas as to what you can do with a Mario Kart iteration. What if, just hear me out, what if you did a Mario Kart game where you could drive as Pikachu or Kirby or characters from like Splatoon or Fire Emblem, Final Fantasy, something like that? I understand that you have to reach out to a lot of these different companies who own these characters, but the very least, at least you could get that money back from us paying $80. I think that would have merited somewhat. Maybe not $80, maybe $70. I think we would have understood. You did it with Link in the last Mario Kart game, and the Splatoon characters are in there as well. I remember that. I think what really could have saved this game in terms of people not questioning this price is just going all out and having these characters in this game and just creating this Super Smash Brothers aspect for Mario Kart. I think that would have been like the coolest experience ever. Pikachu with a cart, that would have been adorable. But instead, we got this, cow in the game, and it's adorable, except for the fact that the cow, this is actually kind of messed up. I made a TikTok on this, but when the cow finds like a food bag and it's revealed that it's like a burger and he eats the burger, that's messed up. That's there's got to be some type of animal cruelty PETA organization looking into this. Like, that's crazy. That's in this game. Like, Lisa pointed that out. I'm like, yeah, that is kind of messed up. Look, if it wasn't for this $80 price range, we would not be talking about this. I think like if the game was just released with the Nintendo Switch 2 at a regular price and there was this open world aspect to it, I think a lot of people would have like been like, oh, cool, that's awesome. But the fact that like, it is $80, I think a lot of people are expecting a lot more from this game and, recognizing like, hey, this doesn't really merit the price. And going back to the open world aspect, I think it's somewhat cool in terms of like if you're someone who likes games like Need for Speed, which has a lot of mini games, or even like Tony Hawk Pro Skater, where like you can do a lot of tricks, like which is applied in this game where you can go on rails and jump from walls and everything. I think there are key components in this game that if they were pushed forward just enough, I think this would have been like a really fine iteration to Mario Kart. But the fact that I feel like I would have been just fine with playing Mario Kart 8 and there's nothing really in this game that merits me needing the Nintendo Switch 2 right now, I don't know. I just feel like it could have been better. And I want to leave on a final note real quick. If you really think about it, the latest iteration of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which came out in 2017, is really just a port from Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U back in 2014. So that means that 11 years have technically passed since our last Mario Kart game. And this is what they offered. I don't know. Like I said, I think if they really wanted to do something just that blew our expectations compared to the last Mario Kart, I think they really should have added like better characters and not just these Mario side villains that you see in the Mario games and everything. I think like if you really wanted us to be like, this is the best Mario Kart game ever, I think they should have added other Nintendo characters. I don't know how much that would have cost, but like that is something I'm putting out there to the world that I hope that we get these characters later on. Please, for the love of God, let's please have Pikachu or Kirby in like a DLC content coming out. I don't know. We just need something. But overall, guys, I actually really like this game. The only reason why I'm being somewhat negative towards some of the aspects of it is because it doesn't merit like this price range that Nintendo has given it. I'm actually really excited to be inviting some people over in the next couple of weeks to be playing it. I think it's going to be a really fun party game. I'm getting my Pro controller soon, probably like tomorrow or something like that. So I'm very curious as to how the new Pro controller is going to be on the Nintendo Switch 2. But in terms of like talking about just the console itself and all the games that are coming out, I'm actually looking forward to some of the upcoming games for Nintendo Switch 2, like Donkey Kong Bonanza and Kirby Star Riders. This is clearly an updated Nintendo Switch, and I'm very happy that they have finally applied 60 frames per second. I was so mad that every time when I got like a third-party game like Sonic Frontiers, and I got it for the original Nintendo Switch, and it was just like lagging, it was buffering and stuff like that. I immediately went back to the store and got it for PlayStation 5. I'm really happy that this is an updated system. We've needed this for such a long time, and I'm looking forward to just playing some updated games at 4K 60 frames per second. So let me know in the comments below if you were able to get a Nintendo Switch 2 last week. Let me know what games you're playing on it. Let me know what games you're looking forward to. Like this video, share it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel if you liked this video or if you like a lot of my other videos. Speaking of other videos, my girlfriend and I decided to do a review on Split Fiction. That was a game that we thoroughly enjoyed, and we're really trying to push that video. We're trying to like get people to watch that video in particular. We know that it's incredibly long. We went for like this podcast style that like I don't usually do a whole lot. This was kind of like our first kind of like podcast style like video on this channel. And yeah, I had a really fun time filming that video. And if you guys have time, we would really appreciate it if you checked out our review to Split Fiction. We really loved that game. We really went in depth in terms of what we liked about the game. And yeah, it's out there right now. I'm going to put it somewhere on this video. But yeah, please subscribe. Really appreciate it. And thank you for checking out this video. I am Corbin Stuckey, and thank you for watching.